Welcome back as we continue on with Melissa Guse's October 13th, 2018 Facebook Live video statement. We're coming up on 10 hours, and now's the part where I'm saying I have to do something because we've had CHP fly over, we've had the Inyo Mono County sheriffs flying over, Bishop PD, CHP flying over. They had their copter today. And when Melissa says coming up, she's not saying she's been missing for 10 hours. Coming up spans time and allows for her to skip crucial information leading up to this point. And in 10 hours, we note the reference to time. And she says, now's the part where I'm saying I have to do something. The part is a reference to a moment of time. Actors have and play parts in a fictionalized story as well. 10 hours has passed since Carly went missing, and now is her part. Now's the part where I'm saying I have to do something. Melissa did not say I have to do something in the form of a statement. Rather, Melissa stated that she was making a statement. This statement shows that Melissa is aware of her audience, and most likely the statement was made for their benefit. The difference is this: I'm saying I have to send help versus I am sending help. Now's the part where I'm saying I have to do something, and typically have to is equivalent to doesn't want to. Now's the part where I'm saying I have to do something, not now's the part where Carly needs your help or we need your help finding Carly. The something Melissa has to do is undefined. Now, the undefined something is because, and that's a word that indicates sensitivity. We've had CHP fly over, Inyo Mono County sheriffs flying over, Bishop PD. We didn't have to wait long for an answer as to why, after 10 hours, Melissa has to do something. Law enforcement is involved, and now she has to do something. Her child is missing, and now she's only saying she has to do something. Now's the part. And when she used the word because, we go back to the beginning of this video, when someone makes a statement and they have a need to explain something without being asked, it is sensitive to the subject. And law enforcement involvement has brought sensitivity into Melissa's statement. We've had CHP fly over, and we've had the Inyo Mono County. And here Melissa uses we to unify herself with law enforcement. Thank you to CHP. Love you. And we are going to potentially have the helicopter do the search over a very large area, Chalfont, all the way around us, all the way down to like Laws. And they're amazing. And several Mono County sheriffs. And Melissa is heaping high praise onto law enforcement. And in statement analysis, we recognize what's called the ingratiating factor in language. And this is where a subject ingratiates himself to the recipient. And right here, it's law enforcement, often using flattery in an attempt to be on their side or the side of police or the authorities. The flattery or ingratiating words indicate the opposite. Here we see Melissa linguistically ingratiating herself to the good guys, the officials, which highlights her need to be seen as a good guy. She is exposing her own need to be seen in a positive light. This is the ingratiating factor in analysis. Melissa is praising the police for not finding Carly. Innocent parents of missing children will not ingratiate themselves to the police. They will voice anger and frustration that their child has not been found. It isn't until much later, months or years, when acceptance has settled in, they may thank police for searching. Melissa saying thank you, love you, and they're amazing in regards to the people that have not found Carly is unexpected. She ends her sentence with and without completing the thought, so that does indicate that she's self-censored and that there is missing information. I see all your faces popping up, and it makes me want to cry. I love you guys. Melissa has interrupted her message to directly engage her audience. When she says it makes me want to cry, want is defined as to have a desire to do something, and seeing all of her Facebook friends compels her to have a desire to cry. She is not saying that she feels like crying, just that she wants to cry. And when she says, I love you guys, that is more ingratiation. And this time it's directed at her intended Facebook audience. And I'm putting this out there because it's going on 10 hours that she's been missing. And I want to put this on blast because I don't think she's out in the desert. There is a lot of information in these two sentences. She starts her sentence with and that always indicates that there is missing information and that it is linguistically tied to the previous sentence. And I'm putting this out there because, and the because indicates a need to explain why or a need to persuade without being asked, and this is flagged as sensitive. She then follows this with an which is slowing down her thought process, and that is followed by it's going on 10 hours, and that is a phrase that spans time. With this phrasing, Melissa is able to bridge time and possibly withhold critical information without directly lying. Phrases that span time indicate missing information. Following this, she gives another sensitivity indicator explaining why, which is that. So after this second sensitivity indicator, she moves into she's been missing. And this is in the passive voice. And passive voice serves to distance themselves from the topic discussed. And it may also serve to conceal identity or responsibility for the action. This statement is unreliable at this point, and we'll see where she takes us. She starts her second sentence again with an and, which indicates missing information, and she repeats herself. I want to put this on blast. In her previous sentence, she had said, I'm putting this out there. So the putting this is repetitive. She's not saying what she said in her first sentence. Her first sentence was stronger because I am is stronger than I want to. So her second sentence is very weak. So the I want to is weaker, and she moves into a third sensitivity indicator because. So in these two sentences, there's now three sensitivity indicators, and this makes this extremely sensitive to her. She's about to explain why, in relation to the amount of time Carly has been missing and Carly's location, that she wants to put this on blast. In this heavy cluster of blues, we are likely to find deception. Crimes are solved within the cluster of blues. And so immediately after her third sensitivity indicator, she moves into a negation. I don't think she's out in the desert. Melissa uses spontaneous negation in her open statement. She is telling us what she doesn't think, which on its own is deceptive. She is thinking this because she stated as much. It is not expected for a subject to report what they don't think, don't believe, don't hear, don't see, etc. The negation indicates what follows is sensitive to the speaker. She's out in the desert. Carly being out in the desert is in her thoughts, and this may be leakage about Carly's location. This is a very concerning statement. I don't think is a weak assertion, and she is allowing for others to think otherwise. Law enforcement has been searching for Carly with helicopters, and Carly has been missing for 10 hours. The area where Carly went missing is surrounded by desert. This begs the question, does Melissa have knowledge otherwise? I don't think she's out in the desert. Note that it is the desert rather than a desert. Oops, remember talking about articles? First comes the introduction with the word a desert, and then comes the article the after recognition. Articles do not lie. The desert indicates she knows where Carly is. The cluster of blues indicate deception, and Melissa is deceptively withholding knowledge of Carly's whereabouts. This reminds me of a very similar statement made by Cindy Anthony. George and I don't believe Kaylee is in the woods or anything. Kaylee Anthony was found in the woods a block away from their home. And this is an example of leakage. That is, even while being deceptive, people may just leak out information they did not intend to share, simply because it weighs so heavily on the mind. I think that she could have been abducted or taken because we do live by a highway, and it happens, and I'm being real. Melissa now offers a hypothesis as to what may have happened to Carly. She thinks, which is a weak assertion, allowing others to think otherwise, that is highlighted in blue as it gives a linguistic cue she's about to explain why she thinks. Then she uses the conditional words could have been abducted or taken. And this is stated using the passive voice, which shows a need to conceal identity or responsibility for the abduction or taking of Carly. If she doesn't know the abductor or taker, this is appropriate language and will stand on its own without any need of explanation or sensitivity indicators. Yet there are two sensitivity indicators in her sentence. Melissa uses the term abducted, which is a conclusion that is reached after evidence indicates such. What leads Melissa to think Carly has been abducted? She then softens her language and gives another possibility, or taken. She indicates no outrage at this possibility. She does not say, that animal that took my daughter, or that disgusting, sick POS that took my daughter. Taken is very soft and passive. And this is now front and center of all things. Carly has been taken, meaning that someone has her, she is alive, and she must be returned. The language should not change to accept anything less than this notion of abduction or taken. Our expectation for a taken child is for the parents to verbalize concern for what the child is experiencing, to beg the kidnapper to care for the child, and to beg the kidnapper to return her. Melissa is unable or unwilling to call out to Carly's abductors. She is also unable or unwilling to condemn the abductor or taker of Carly. The passivity, the soft minimizing language, and the disposition towards the abductor or taker indicates both deception and responsibility. The context is vital. The child is missing, and the expectation is that the parent or caretaker will show a majority of the language, the priority being with what the child is going through currently. This is something that can drive a parent crazy with worry. It's all about the child. Our expectation is to hear Melissa say something along the lines of, someone kidnapped my stepdaughter and she needs her medicine, or fill in the blank. This expresses through words a positive linguistic disposition towards the victim. It is expected. Its absence is for a reason. Melissa is building a narrative or telling a story rather than reporting what happened, leaving the possibility open to both abduction or taking, coupled with I think, makes her assertion weak and allows her to be vague. We also note the change in language from missing to abducted to taken, and later in her statement, back to missing. There is no change in reality to justify this change in language. What makes Melissa believe that Carly could have been abducted or taken? We don't have to wait long for her answer. She begins her reasons why Carly could have been abducted or taken with the word because, which is a sensitivity indicator. And the first reason she gives is we do live by a highway. And do is an additional unneeded word, and she put that in there to add emphasis where it is not needed. And this is a need to persuade. The second reason she gives is it happens. And it is a depersonalizing way to refer to her daughter being abducted or taken. Even though this is her attempt at persuasion, it happens as your car getting ran into by a cart in a shopping center. It's not how you would refer to your daughter being abducted or taken. We need to consider also that it may be something else entirely. She may be speaking about something else at this point. And it happens sounds a lot like shit happens, which is very unexpected. And all of these reasons sound very negative linguistically towards the victim. And this is pessimistic after 10 hours of missing status. This has an undertone of subtle victim blaming as well, as if it happens, that Carly, whatever Carly encountered happens, and it's her fault. The third reason that Melissa believes Carly could have been abducted or taken is I'm being real. And this has the same meaning or connotation as I'm being honest. We are now wondering, when hasn't she been real or honest? And in statement analysis, this is one of those phrases that puts you on alert for dishonesty. So, after those reasons Melissa gave to persuade that Carly could have been abducted or taken, one is left to wonder who has a need to persuade that their daughter has been abducted or taken. And the answer, someone who may know their daughter hasn't been abducted or taken. And I just want to let everybody know. Melissa starts her sentence with and, which always indicates missing information, and then she says, I just. And the word just is a unique one in statement analysis. Let's talk about the word just. because it's important to this statement and even more important to Melissa's October 22nd, 2018 statement. The word just is a familiar one to traffic cops. How many drinks have you had? Just two, officer. The word just is employed because the driver is comparing the number two with a greater figure. When one answers, just two, officer, it is done by the brain signaling the tongue in less than a microsecond which words to use. When the mind is thinking of a higher number, the brain signals this fact by sending the message to the tongue to utilize the word just in language. The brain quickly scans its list of vocabulary and produces just without debate or pre-thought. For the officer, this is a signal that the subject is thinking of more than two drinks. It may be that the subject actually had six drinks, and when he went to lie, the brain leaked out, in less than a microsecond, the word just. The takeaway message is this: the word just is used when comparing something to a greater amount, or a greater thought, or a greater action. The purpose of the use of the word just is to minimize or reduce. So back to Melissa's statement. I just want to let everybody know. Why then is Melissa wanting to minimize her announcement that Carly is missing? It is most likely that Melissa has a bigger motivation in mind with the making of her video. The question is, what's a bigger want than letting everybody know? And the answer very well may be having everyone believe what she is saying. She just wants to let everybody know that Carly could have been abducted or taken, not I want everybody to help find Carly, not I hope Carly is safe in the hands of her abductors, not help bring her home. She is not asking for help for Carly. She is only informing her audience of her narrative. There is no call to action. Alicia, you're calling me? Are you watching the video? She's not watching the video. That's okay. Melissa breaks away from her Carly is missing announcement to engage her audience directly. That's okay, not you need to watch. That's okay that an audience member doesn't watch and therefore know that her daughter is missing. And she has now used Alicia's name the same number of times as she's used Carly's. I want to put this on blast because I don't know what to do to consider her a missing person. I want to is not I am putting this on blast. There is a big difference between I am and I want to. When Melissa says I want to, she is slowing down the pace of her statement. I want to qualifies what she does and brings in motive. She moves into the sensitivity indicator because, signaling she's about to give the reason why without being asked. She is sensitive to I don't know what to do to consider her a missing person. This is reported in the negative, making it doubly sensitive. We look to what follows the negation to find where her sensitivity is, and it's what to do to consider her a missing person. Consider is defined as to think of or believe something to be a certain way. I don't know what to do to think of Carly as a missing person. Why is she having difficulty believing or thinking Carly as a missing person? She has called in law enforcement. Law enforcement is searching. She's been searching. She's making this Facebook Live video to report Carly missing to her audience. She is not indicating she's having difficulty coming to terms with Carly's missing status. She is indicating that she doesn't know what to do to think or believe her a missing person. She is speaking to believing her own story. She now refers to Carly as a missing person. Carly has been relegated to a person who is missing, not her stepdaughter, not Carly. She is a person who's missing among many people who are missing. This is extreme psychological distancing. We continue to wait for Melissa to use Carly's name, introduce her, and indicate ownership in their relationship. She is no longer abducted or taken. She is missing. There is no change in reality to justify the change in language. Melissa is deceptive in this statement. She ponders aloud how to believe what she is saying. Her language changes with no justification. Melissa would not pass a polygraph if questioned using her own language. You can't do an Amber Alert because she didn't leave in a car, and I don't have a physical description of a vehicle. Melissa starts her sentence with which indicates she is slowing down her thoughts. She then moves into you, which is a universal you indicating distance, which is inappropriate considering this is her stepdaughter who is missing. This is not a universal experience. It's a highly personal, hormonally loaded experience, and we expect the emergence of I, as this is highly personal. This should bring maternal instinct to the surface. She then moves into a negation. You can't, which indicates what follows is sensitive to the subject. Melissa is sensitive to an Amber Alert for Carly. This is immediately followed by another sensitivity indicator, because, which gives a reason why without asking. This is followed by another negation, didn't, and another sensitivity indicator, leave, which indicates critically withheld information. Melissa is very sensitive to Carly leaving in a car. Her mind is stuck back at the point when she didn't leave in a car. She then moves into another negation, don't, with sensitivity about having a physical description of a vehicle. Did you notice the change in language from car to vehicle? It is important to note when a person's personal dictionary changes. People don't change their language arbitrarily. People use very specific words and are consistent with their language as long as their relationship or experience with the item or person remains the same. A change in language is expected when the relationship or experience with the item or person changes. The change of language from car to vehicle at this point in the story tells us that the subject viewed what Carly didn't leave in differently than from a description that Melissa doesn't have. Their relationship did change in Melissa's statement. Vehicle is a term more commonly used by law enforcement, mechanics, and insurance adjusters. The common term is car, not vehicle. When Melissa associates what Carly didn't leave in, it is a car. When Melissa associates with what she doesn't have a description of, it is a vehicle. Melissa wants to distinguish between the two things. Melissa is distancing herself with the use of the word vehicle. Earlier in her statement, Melissa stated that she could have been abducted or taken. One would assume that Melissa did not witness the abduction or taking of Carly, and thus have a physical description of a vehicle. This was to state what did not need to be stated. Yet Melissa asserts that Carly didn't leave in a car. This one sentence is overwhelmingly deceptive and indicates that Melissa has guilty knowledge of and is deceptively withholding how Carly left the house that morning. She is 5'7". Hold on. Let's do this good. Wait, there she is. She's 5'7", about 115 pounds. She has blue eyes and the cutest little nose and a great smile, and her hair goes all the way down past her, like to her belly, let's say, mid-waist. Melissa wants to create a partnership with her audience, as evidenced by her use of the word let's, which is a form of ingratiation. She is also indicating she doesn't want to be alone with this. When she says, there she is subtly distancing herself from Carly. One wonders, with the flattering physical characteristics, such as cutest little nose and a great smile, Melissa attributes to the stepdaughter whom she won't name, if she has a desperate need to announce to her Facebook audience that while her daughter is missing, she is an attentive and great stepmother. And this was last year's picture, so she's a little bit different, but not much. She's still, like, adorably cute. Melissa starts her sentence with and, which indicates missing information. This indicates closeness. When she says this was last year's picture, she is willing to indicate closeness to Carly's picture physically. She is unwilling to indicate closeness to the Carly in the picture, as evidenced by there she is in her previous sentences. She then states, this was last year's picture, not this is last year's picture. The picture was taken last year, however, she is currently holding it up for her audience to see. She didn't say this picture was taken last year. She is saying this was last year's picture. Past tense reference noted. The rest of her verbs in this sentence are present tense. This is a red flag that Melissa has belief or knowledge that Carly is deceased. She moves into a sensitivity indicator, so, which is a need to explain why. Melissa then stutters on she, which indicates increased anxiety when referencing how Carly currently looks. Stuttering on pronouns in a non-stutterer is significant. Speaking of Carly's current appearance has caused her brain to hiccup on she. Melissa does not explain how Carly is a little bit different, which causes one to wonder, what is it about Carly's current appearance that is causing Melissa to explain, stutter, and qualify different as a little bit? Please consider that Carly's appearance was more than a little bit different the last time Melissa saw her. She then refutes or minimizes what she just stated about Carly's appearance being a little bit different with but. She offers negation with not, so what follows is going to be important. She's still like adorably cute. Still speaks to time. Is Melissa saying that Carly is still cute? No. Next, she qualifies Carly's cuteness with like, which is similar to. Similar to what? Is Melissa saying that Carly is still similar to cute? No. Melissa again qualifies Carly's appearance with adorably. This extreme need to persuade about Carly's appearance indicates that Carly's current appearance is markedly different than her picture. This is alarming and unexpected. She doesn't wear makeup and everything. Melissa offers negation related to Carly wearing makeup. This raises sensitivity again to Carly's appearance. This comment seems out of place and unnecessary. And everything. What is Melissa meaning by everything? What else does Carly not wear? She left in her jeans, and a t-shirt. Melissa's use of the word left indicates critical missing information, which is being deliberately withheld. It also indicates that Melissa's thoughts are stuck back at the moment Carly left. She doesn't say Carly went for a walk wearing her jeans. Her thought process isn't moving forward. It's at the point when Carly left. She also pauses with an to slow her thoughts and prevent inadvertent leakage. So, I'm putting out there and just go for it. Melissa starts her sentence with so, which is a sensitivity indicator, as it is a need to explain why without being asked. She then says, I'm putting, which is the fourth reference to putting a message out there or on blast in her message. Repetition indicates sensitivity. Communicating Carly's missing status has produced extreme sensitivity in her statement. She skips referencing what she is putting out there, which indicates the need to psychologically distance herself from her own message. The spot which I've indicated with asterisks could have been filled with this or this message or anything along those lines. She does not want to claim her message or name what she's putting out there. Her second sentence starts with and, which ties it to the previous sentence and indicates missing information. She then uses just when telling her audience to go for it. Just is used to minimize or reduce. Why does Melissa have the need to minimize, go for it to her audience? What is the it she wants her audience to go for and then minimize? We'll let her words guide us. Everybody help me out here. Melissa is asking for help for herself, not for Carly. She needs help. This type of language is seen in 911 calls where the caller has guilty knowledge of the crime. Melissa's priority in the message is not Carly being found. It is about Melissa needing help. This is unexpected. I love you all. Everybody please watch. Share your friends, share my friends, share everybody's, but just share the shit out of it, all right? Thank you. And when Melissa says, I love you all, she is ingratiating herself to her audience again. Please note also that in Melissa's message, she has verbalized love for CHP 1 time, her audience 2 times, and Carly 0 times. Melissa has a strong presence in her first sentence with I love you. The I indicates she is invested in this sentence. When she moves on in directing her audience, the I disappears. She is not saying, I need you to, or even, we need you to share this message. This indicates that her commitment to these actions is reduced. She is asking for people to please watch. We don't expect politeness in an urgent message about a missing child. What is expected is Carly needs your help to find her. And this is not her message. She wants them to watch. Earlier in her message, it was okay for them not to watch. There is incongruence in her words. And this is a strong indication that she is not speaking from experiential memory, but from scripted language. There is no call to action. Melissa asks her audience to share. Share your friends, share my friends, share everybody's. Her audience sharing is very sensitive to Melissa as she repeats this 4 times. She has still not asked for help in regards to Carly. We expect to see or hear the word find in the subject statement. We do not. Melissa is asking her audience to watch and share. And she then moves into but, which minimizes or refutes what came before this. Melissa is asking her audience to watch and share, and then minimizes or refutes what she asks them to do. And then she says just. Just is then used to minimize her audience sharing the shit out of it. Melissa refuted and then minimized what she asked her audience to do, indicating she has another motivation for sharing this information with her audience. Melissa Guse's Facebook Live video from October 13th, 2018 was an interesting analysis. If we enter into Melissa's linguistic reality, Carly is not her stepdaughter. Melissa may have admired Carly's physical attributes. However, there are no other positives stated about Carly. Melissa gives a half-hearted show of concern, with no linguistic empathy about how Carly is currently doing, given that she may be out in the desert, perhaps even abducted or taken. Melissa is Carly's stepmother and, as such, not related to Carly. However, she has been in the role of primary caretaker for the past 8 to 10 years, to which there should be natural maternal denial. Melissa's optimism and maternal denial concerning Carly's status has been overtaken by a premature pessimism, given that this video was made 10 hours after she went missing. Melissa gives no linguistic cues that indicate hope of reunification. She urges her viewers to watch and share, not search and find. Instead, she uses the highest levels of sensitivity in language, along with weak assertions and a need to persuade that all point to the priority of her message. The need is not to find Carly, but to justify self. Melissa requests help for herself because Carly is beyond help. Melissa is deceptively withholding critical information regarding Carly's location and how she left that morning. This, along with the totality of her message, indicates Melissa has knowledge that Carly is beyond concern. Melissa Guse's October 22, 2018 Facebook Live video statement is currently being analyzed. We look to see if this will further confirm or deny these findings.